Howdy folks, welcome back to my YouTube. I am your host, the Mighty Bjorn. And today, PvE Hardcore Operation Life Jacket, I am featuring for you the new Tier 5 Premium, the XM247 Sergeant York. Not quite sure why this has the XM designation. The XM designation is actually used by the US military for prototype vehicles. This is actually not a prototype vehicle, and I'm actually going to dig into that deeper. But we'll take a quick look over it here. It is currently available in the Battle Path. You can gain it at level 10. Doesn't actually take very many battle coins to get it, and it's not a bad vehicle, even after the nerf. This is a post-nerf patch, not a pre-nerf patch.
There are also some trucks filled with explosives in the area. Disarm them before they detonate to minimize damage to the plant.
Now, if the mission lady is done rambling, let's dig into the history of the M247 Sergeant York. In the later part of the 1970s, the U.S. Army was seeking a new anti-air gun system to replace the M163 Vulcan gun system, which was a Vulcan gun system mounted on an M113, and the MIM-72 tracked missile carrier. The new vehicle will be part of a 1-2 punch featuring the M1 Abrams tanks and Bradley IFVs. The now outmodeled M48 hulls and basis automotive components would serve as the basis for the new vehicle. This measure would help cut costs and development for the new SPAAG system. That is self-propelled anti-air gun system. The new vehicle would feature a new turret design. The turret was an all-welded steel construction. The turret would be large and heavy for the vehicle. The sides and rear of the turret would protect the crew from small arms fire and shell splinters, and that's really about it. The front of the turret is actually quite beefy. However, because generally the turret armor is flat, it does not provide very much in the way of protection. The new turret would mount radar equipment and tracking systems. The system mounted is a Westinghouse AN APG-68 radar system that would provide radar detection out to 40 kilometers. 2.8 miles for my American audience. Yeah, we're going to do one of these again, aren't we? The new vehicle would also feature a laser rangefinder as well as digital fire control system. Finally, the M247 would feature twin 40mm Bofors L70 automatic cannons. Each gun would be fed by a 500-round belt-fed magazine system with an additional 500 rounds for each gun stowed in the turret. That's actually 2,000 rounds of ammunition. You don't get anywhere near that much here in Armored Warfare, unfortunately. The hull would be an upgraded M48A5 hull. The hull is of all welded steel construction. There actually is some casting of the hull though. Each side would feature 6 rubber steel road wheels. A idler was mounted at the front, and the drive sprocket was mounted at the rear. The tracks are constructed of steel with rubber track pads. There would also be 5 return rollers as well on each side. The suspension is a torsion bar type to provide necessary off-road capabilities. The design work would begin in 1977 and run to 1985. It would officially be adopted in service as M247 Sergeant York. So there you go. It did actually enter production, which kind of goes why I'm not sure why the vehicle has the XM designation in game. However, only 50 vehicles would be produced. the production would be very limited. The vehicle program would run into a wide variety of issues, which would lead to the vehicle being canceled. One such issue was with its radar system. The radar would actually confuse treetops for low-flying helicopters. The M247 Sergeant York was also heavy and slow to keep pace with the M1 Abrams and the M2 Bradley, in which the M247 Sergeant York was designed to protect. So that's a little bit of a problem right there. If you can't keep up with the vehicles that you are to protect, what's the point? The project would be terminated August 27th, 1985. A few M247 Sergeant Yorks would be saved from the scrap heap, but most vehicles would be used for the U.S. Air Force as bombing targets. So there you go. There's the history and development of the M247 Sergeant York. The vehicle would not actually be officially deployed anywhere, and the vehicle would actually not see service with any other countries. Now, generally speaking, the guns work pretty well. We'll talk about cover the vehicle now here in Armored Warfare. As I said earlier, it is a Tier 5 premium. It can be currently earned through the Last Patriot Battle Path at level 10. It features the two 40mm Bofors cannons. Those are actually the same cannons that you can find on the AC-130 gunship.
Good job.
So they do work pretty well against vehicles. They even work against tanks, surprisingly. In-game, you can load the cannons with either armor-piercing ammunition or Peely ammunition. I actually have this vehicle loaded with nothing but Peely ammunition. Now, some things to throw out here. As part of the part of the nerf, well, I don't know why I said buff. The rate of fire was actually slowed down a bit, the penetration was lowered, and the damage per shot was actually lowered. It keeps the vehicle somewhat competitive, and it is very comparative to the AMX-13 DACA if you have the pool barrels upgrade. The rate of fire is a little faster. The Peely is really effective against light armored vehicles. However, against heavier armored vehicles such as main battle tanks, leaves the performance something a little bit to be desired. The camouflage factor of this vehicle is not the best. Understand that it is a big vehicle. I mean, look at the size of the turret. The size of the turret is actually taller than the hull. It is a quite large vehicle. Its armor will hold up to automatic cannon fire, or so far that I've seen, it will hold up to auto cannon fire of vehicles from the same tier. However, when it comes to ATGMs and Sabo rounds from main battle tanks and tank destroyers, the armor does not withstand that kind of abuse. So keep that in mind, that even though you can withstand autocannons, you can also withstand high explosive munitions, but that's really about it, armor protection wise. It is not an incredibly fast vehicle, although it does maneuver fairly well, especially since it's built on a main battle tank hull. That's actually a main battle tank hull at Tier 2. Well, technically, sorry, Tier 4, because the Magach 5 is actually an M48A5 hull. However, the Magach 5 is also better armored than this vehicle is. That being said, the spotting range is not actually really all that bad, especially once you raise the satellite, and the radar will help you spot through cover. So right now, just kind of waiting here for the match to wrap up. It's going to be over here very shortly. Gonna try to close in a bit here on this light vehicle. Although I'm pretty sure it looks like it's going to be pretty well over before I get here. And there we go. Got at least a hit on it. And there is the W. But anyway, I did 17,765 damage, spotted 3 enemy vehicles, and destroyed 15, grabbing myself a destroyer medal. However, I did not get the blue star. Ally on my team actually had better spotting damage than I did, even though I would be top damage overall. That being said, the vehicle feels somewhat more balanced, but it actually feels a little bit weaker than it probably should be. Considering that this was a vehicle that I was racking anywhere from around 20 plus kills in and doing almost 30,000 damage at tier 5. So don't get me wrong, I feel the vehicle needed a nerf. However, well, I think they over-nerfed it. Still, it's not a bad vehicle, and it does do the job. Anyway, folks, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Remember, you can earn this from the current battle path, the last Patriot battle path. It is at level 10. It is a fun vehicle to play with. I would actually like to try this in PvP. I tried to do that the other day on the stream, but I just couldn't get a PvP match at tier 5, unfortunately. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this Armored Warfare replay, and hopefully I will see you for the next Armored Warfare replay.